It seems the fear of every rich man is to get a child who is responsible to take over his business at his old age, or when he dies. What if you do not have a child, or what if your child is irresponsible and arrogant? Today's story is about a rich man who was looking for someone to entrust all his wealth. Mr. Azuma was a very prosperous businessman. He was famous due to his riches and influence in decision-making. With all his riches, Mr. Azuma was unsuccessful in his marriage life. He married 3 different women but ended up divorcing each of them. No one knows the reason behind all this divorce. Some people gossip that he used his marital life for money ritual. Even though he hears all these rumors, he never paid attention to them. Mr. Azuma stayed single until the age of 48 years. He then met a very beautiful lady who is 35 years of age. She already had 2 children. The children were twin boys. Mr. Azuma didn't like the fact that the woman he fell in love with is having 2 children, whom their father died. But for the love he had for her, Mr. Azuma accepted the children and married her. He was with high hopes that he would be able to have a child with his new wife. Luckily, they were able to stay together for 8 good years, but never had a child. It was then that Mr. Azuma realized he was impotent. Now he has no option than to transfer his property to his stepsons. Mr. Azuma did not want his property to fall into bad hands to bring an end to his business, so he decided to take close look at the 2 boys to see which of them deserve his position. They were then 17 years old. After completing high school, Mr. Azuma supported his stepsons into the tertiary. They all read business administration to become business tycoon. The younger son was Tyler and the eldest Taylor. They both had good and bad qualities, but Mr. Azuma was focused on their bad qualities and weakness to make his final decision for his will. Mr. Azuma kept this as a secret from his wife about his intentions of selecting one of the boys to take over his property when he gets old. After 5 years of studying and learning, Mr. Azuma decided to put his 2 boys to test. He gave each of them an equal amount of money to start any business of their choice. The young men never expected that, but accepted the challenge. After 6 months, Mr. Azuma realized all the boys were good enough to control his business due to their competency. He was amazed at the hard work of the boys. He then decided to take further steps since he cannot decide based on their competency and hard work. After careful thinking, Mr. Azuma came up with a final test. He decided to test their moral lifestyle. Mr. Azuma was a very generous man and he was known for that. So he decided to see if any of his children is generous enough to handle his business. One day, he told his family he wants to travel to the US for 3 weeks and so his 2 sons should take over his business until he comes back. The 2 boys were so happy. Their mother was also very proud of them. Mr. Azuma then pretended to travel but rather went to hide in the same town disguised as a beggar. This is interesting, isn't it? Let's see what happens next. On the first day of working for his sons, Mr. Azuma went to sit in front of the company as a beggar. His target was his 2 sons, so he never minded anyone. None of his workers were able to even identify him. Mr. Azuma told his sons to report to work at 9 a.m. so he sat there at 8:30 a.m. At exactly 8:50, Mr. Azuma saw his younger son approaching and slept in front of the building helplessly. His son then passed by and walked back to see who was that. He then asked his disguised father if he needed anything. The father said he was hungry. His younger son then gave him some money to buy some food and left. His elder son reported at 9:50. When he got there, he saw the beggar and attempted to sack him. When he failed, he called the security to throw him out of the building. The following day, Mr. Azuma came back. His younger son came much earlier than the previous day. Tyler greeted his disguised father and asked if he needed anything, but Mr. Azuma said he was okay. His younger son then decided to offer him work as a cleaner in the company. His disguised father accepted the offer and told him he will begin the following day. As they were talking, his elder son came there and asked the beggar why he returned after driving him out. Tyler's younger brother then told Taylor he has employed the beggar so he should leave him alone. After that day, Mr. Azuma then realized how his elder son behaved towards others and how kind and generous the younger one was. He finally concluded that Tyler would be in charge of his businesses. He disappeared from the day he was offered the job and went home after 3 days. He told his family the business why he left could not come on. Mr. Azuma was then 60 years, so he wanted to hand over the business and rest. One evening, he called all the family together and told them all his intentions and how he tested his 2 sons. The elder son wept. Everyone was shocked and amazed. He then officially handed over the business to his younger son as the new manager. Due to the kindness of Tyler, he offered his elder brother a respectable position in the company. From that day, Tyler became the boss over his elder brother Taylor. Mr. Amuzu then had his peace of mind.
Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notification to get more exciting stories.